To answer your question, as a chef, is it possible that you can actually get someone to eat food that they don't like? Yes, but there is a process of doing this. So as a chef, we have met many people that generally don't like something. The big common thing, as you have heard probably, Brussels sprouts, kale, broccoli, or just, it's generally always bitter greens. That's what I find from experience. Or someone hasn't paired it correctly, or good beer. So we had an experience yesterday. I mean, this is common as a chef. This happens all the time. So you have to have a process. This process is this. You need to pick things that person knows. The best way I break this down is by this. Imagine I go in the middle of the street and I come up to you and all of a sudden I say, hey, you want to try this? What are the chances of you willing to try this food that you just met in the middle of the street as a stranger? Pretty slim to none, right? That's the same thing with this. You need to build trust. They need to know what you're doing, all right? They need to know you. So the best way of doing it is picking some foods that they know. Now, as a chef, we have chef tastings, or maybe you do a 10 course, 13 course, how many courses, depends on the restaurant or thing. So imagine I got something that you know, most likely you know spaghetti. I have that as my first appetizer, right? Or a small portion of it. I give that to you and you try and oh wow, that's pretty good. What is the chances of you being willing to try something else that person made? You've built the trust a little bit, you've made one thing, but you need to make at least 2 to 3 more times to actually convince that person that, okay, you make great food, you made 3 great things that I like, and it's the food I already know. What else do you make I'm gonna be more likely to try something that I've never tried before? And that's what you want. So you might have to do it 2 more times or 3 times, like I said. From there, now that person's willing to try many things. Now this example yesterday, and this is the prime example. So my friend and I, Ben, we were doing a whiskey pairing with our food, and how it was done was this. This is a normal pairing, okay? That was it. But the most important thing of putting this together is by simply clicking that like button. But seriously, so we had this pairing up for the whiskey with our foods, and I spoke to one of the guests, which I know pretty well. He explained to me that his wife doesn't generally like any whiskey, and he thought it was really cool that we did this pairing, because usually when he goes to the restaurant, what she always does is when she gets whiskey or something, she just gives it right to Mark to try. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And because you paired it with foods that go well with it and you didn't do so much of it, it actually went really well. I was like, oh, well, appreciate it, whatever. Well, now she was willing to try all the whiskeys through the entire night that we did. And I was like, oh, that's super cool. That is because we went through our process. We made food that she already knows, and from the 2 to 3 times that we tried that process, she was willing to try other things that we paired things. She trusted we knew what we were doing. To conclusion, is it possible to change someone's mind or get them to try something they generally don't like? Yes, it is entirely possible, but you have a process. You've got to make sure that you got to build trust with them by getting them to know you, getting them to like you. Then they'll be willing to try other things with you. But that's just normal human behavior. You need to do that. And any chef can do that. You can do this as well in day-to-day life, in your workplace or home or anything. But just like all things, you can't rush anything. I hope I answered your question. If you like what I had to say, click that like button. If not, alright, whatever. I'm Chef Nicholas Kinnear, and if you haven't already, subscribe for more of my content. Alright, thanks. Peace.